In the 3rd year after my death, the news reported Justin had returned to the country to marry Selena, the love of his life. The moment his plane landed, he came to the shabby old apartment building where I used to live. "Selena, wait for me in the car. It's windy outside." Her face pale, Selena reached out to grab Justin's hand and asked weakly, "Justin, will Emma donate a kidney to me?" Standing beside Justin, I let out a cold laugh. I've already been dead for 3 years, and they're still thinking about my kidney. Don't they have kidneys abroad? Chapter 1. Justin and I went way back. If I hadn't been too broke to afford food and gone to the hospital to sell my blood for a little money, our lives would never have crossed like this. I have the rare panda blood type. 5 years ago, I got a phone call. "Is this Miss Emma?" At the time, I was rushing between several stores working part-time jobs. Getting a local call out of nowhere completely threw me off. "Huh? What is it?" The person on the other end sounded anxious as she said, "I'm a nurse from Jiangxing People's Hospital. We currently have a critically ill patient whose blood type matches yours. We need panda blood to save her life, but the blood bank is short right now. Could you come over immediately?" Before the nurse could finish, her voice was replaced by a man's voice that sounded commanding. "Take a taxi here right now. Your fare will be reimbursed. Afterward, you can name your price for compensation." I was furious at the time. Even when asking someone to donate blood, that was not the attitude to take. Even though I was extremely angry, I still took a taxi to the hospital, keeping in mind that saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. As soon as I got there, before I could even catch my breath, they quickly dragged me into the transfusion room and drew blood from me, 500 cubic centimeters in total. I lay on the recliner to rest, but the guy who had said he would compensate me never showed up. Just as I was about to leave, a nurse suddenly called out to stop me. "There, she's Emma." I turned around and looked at the nurse. Standing beside her was a tall man in a black coat, and that man was actually Justin, the senior I had admired back in college. He strode toward me. My heart pounded wildly. I had thought he was coming to thank me. "Miss Emma, you still can't leave. My sister still hasn't regained consciousness, so I'm worried something unexpected might happen later. But don't worry, after this, I'll give you compensation." After saying that, he turned and left without another glance. Sitting in the chair, I complained under my breath, "So what if you've got money?" I must have been blind back then. Pa. My official acquaintance with Justin began with Justin's sister. Chapter 2. Justin quickly climbed up to the 7th floor without even losing his breath. His face dark and grim. Knock. The subordinate at his side began banging on my door. Bang, 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 but there was no response at all. Justin frowned and said, "Emma, stop throwing a tantrum. Selena is seriously ill this time. I promise you, if you give your kidney to Selena, I'll marry you and bring you into the family." Standing to one side, I rolled my eyes and cursed. "Justin, are you out of your mind? You're feeding me empty promises again." "But I'm not buying that crap anymore, because I don't love you anymore." The subordinate looked at Justin and said, "Young master, maybe Miss Emma really isn't home." Just as Justin was about to speak, my neighbor next door opened her door and looked at them. "What are you doing?" The subordinate asked politely. "Excuse me, has Miss Emma, who lives here, been home recently?" My neighbor was my landlady, an old granny. She was also the person who gave me the most care in the final days of my life. "Emma died 3 years ago." When he heard the words "died 3 years ago," Justin's face visibly twitched. He looked up at Granny, clearly unwilling to believe it. How could she be dead? "Granny, you can't use such a ridiculous lie to cover up where she is." Granny rolled her eyes at Justin and cursed. "So you're that heartless bastard. No wonder you looked familiar. You heartless bastard." As she spoke, Granny grabbed the broom from the stairwell and started hitting Justin with it. He was so stunned that he didn't even dodge. "Get out! Shameless scumbag!" The subordinate hurried to shield Justin and pull him away, but he still looked dazed, utterly unwilling to believe it. Then his phone rang. The caller ID showed Selena. Only then did he answer, his voice turning gentle. "What is it, Selena?" I don't know what was said on the other end, but judging from the way Justin frowned and how worried he looked, It clearly wasn't anything simple. Sure enough, Justin said, "Selena, wait for me. I'm coming down right now to take you to the hospital." Downstairs, Selena's frail body looked so pitiful that anyone would feel sorry for her. As she looked at Justin, her eyes brimmed with tears. "Justin, does Emma not want to donate her kidney to me? Am I going to die soon?" Justin got into the car, pulled her into his arms, and comforted her gently. "No, I'll find a kidney donor for you, even if Emma won't donate. It doesn't matter." Selena cried so prettily, tears streaming down her face. As she said, "Justin, the doctor said before that only Emma's kidney is a 100% match for me. Of course, if Emma isn't willing, then forget it. If I can die in your arms, then I'll have no regrets." Sitting on the roof of the car, I rolled my eyes. What a massive white lotus. Too bad I'm already dead. My flesh has long since rotted clean away. So where would I even get a kidney to give you? I followed the car all the way to the hospital. I really hate this place that fills people with fear. Because when I was alive, every time I came to the hospital, it was either to give blood or to give blood. Until in the end, I died of illness. But I have no choice. For some reason, my soul just can't leave Justin. Chapter 3. Doctor, hurry! Justin carried the unconscious Selena straight to the hospital's VIP ward. The doctors rushed to save her. And in the end, they finally brought her back. Maybe it was karma, but Selena really was sick. Back then, Justin and I had been brought together by his sister. He had no objections, and neither did I. His family had even accepted me, a girlfriend with no father and no mother. Everything had been moving in a good direction. But ever since Selena returned to the country and all the major media outlets rushed to report it, I found out that she was Justin's white moonlight. Emma. She and I have absolutely nothing to do with each other anymore. Don't overthink it. The only woman who can be Justin's wife is you. Looking at Justin's affectionate expression, I chose to believe him. After all, who doesn't have a first love or a white moonlight or something like that? Justin's sister had always been in poor health and was often in and out of the hospital. And naturally, I became the person who gave her blood transfusions. My best friend when I was alive once said, "Emma, they're not treating you like a walking blood bank, are they? They're keeping you by their side so they can morally pressure you. Once you become part of their family, you won't have any choice but to give blood to your future sister-in-law." I smiled and shook my head. "That's not it, Lily. Justin treats me very well, and his family truly treats me sincerely too." Lily had always been hostile toward Justin's family, but seeing how happy I was, she didn't continue. At the family banquet, Justin was going to formally introduce me as his fiancée. That day, I was extremely happy. Justin's sister personally helped me choose my evening gown, as I held his arm and slowly walked into the banquet hall under everyone's admiring gaze. At that moment, I truly felt that I was the happiest woman in the world. During the banquet, Justin's sister linked arms with me and warmly introduced me to the family members, and even to other wealthy wives. We got along very well, until an uninvited guest appeared. Selena. She was wearing a white strapless gown and light makeup. There was a trace of weariness at the corners of her eyes, and her eyes were brimming with tears, as if she had been crying. Holding a glass of wine, she walked toward me. "Congratulations, Sister Emma. I wish you and Justin a lifetime of happiness together." After saying that, she drank it all in one go, and tears slid from the corners of her eyes, as though I had stolen her man. Though, it seemed I really had stolen her man. The moment she drank the wine, red rashes immediately broke out all over her body, and her face turned red. I was so shocked that I couldn't say a word. Justin came over. Just as I was about to speak, he publicly accused me. "Emma, what are you doing? Selena can't drink alcohol. The moment she touches it, she has an allergic reaction." Without waiting for me to explain, he violently yanked me aside. Then, in full view of everyone, swept Selena up in a Princess Carrie and strode away. I stood there frozen, tears in my eyes, unable to believe it. That night, I became the laughingstock of all Jiangqing. Chapter 4. I locked myself in my room and set my phone to silent. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days passed. Justin did not call me even once. That afternoon, Lily saw what had happened to me in the news and came back early from her business trip. The moment she entered, she said angrily, "I knew it. That Justin has been treating you like a blood bank, and that so-called love of his life clearly knows she's allergic to alcohol. Yet she still drank it. Wasn't that obviously on purpose?" My eyes were lifeless as I walked out of my room and sat down on the sofa. Lily, is the power of the love of his life really that strong? Lily didn't know how to answer, so she comforted me. Who cares whether she's the love of his life or some unforgettable woman? I'm done with this crap. Emma, take this chance to break up with Justin. How could ordinary people like us ever squeeze into a wealthy family like theirs? Do you know that Selena and Justin grew up together? They're basically childhood sweethearts. How could you possibly shake a bond like that? The moment she said that, I instantly crumpled. But their family really gave me so much warmth I had never felt before. Woo-woo. Lily understood what I meant. She pulled me into her arms and gently patted my back. Then the phone rang. It was Justin. Answer it. I want to hear what he has to say. I nodded and pressed the answer button. Before I could speak, Justin accused me. Emma, I only thought you were treating Selena as your imaginary rival. But even so, you still shouldn't have let her drink alcohol. It's already been 3 days. And you still haven't come to apologize to her. Are you really that heartless? Lily wanted to speak, but I hung up directly. I never expected Justin not to even listen to my explanation and to convict me on the spot. Was this still the Justin I knew? Scumbag. Emma, after all that, you still won't break up with him? We're not taking this kind of crap. I think a couple should trust each other, but he doesn't trust you at all. Lily kept talking on and on. While Justin's calls kept coming in, Lily snatched my phone and turned it off. That night, there was a knock at the door. I opened it and looked at the visitor. Sis, why are you here? The person standing there was Justin's sister, Patricia. I welcomed her inside and had her sit down. She didn't beat around the bush and said directly, Emma, I think you must be very curious about Justin and Selena's relationship. Our two families have been old family friends. It's just that Selena's family got caught up in a legal case because of some incident, and her parents killed themselves, leaving Selena behind as a young girl. She was raised in our home from childhood, so she and Justin grew up together. I nodded and said, You probably didn't come here just to tell me that, did you? Patricia smiled and said, Our family would never allow Selena to marry into our household. My parents have long treated her as their own daughter, and all the adoption procedures have already been completed. Selena is our family's daughter. Emma, do you understand what I mean? After talking with Patricia, I finally understood. Justin and Selena were in love, but they could never be together. If they got together, it would be incest. A prominent family like Justin's would absolutely never allow any stain on its reputation. So all the care Justin had shown me over the past year, all the times he said he liked me, were lies? Chapter 5. After Patricia left, I went to Selena's hospital room. I thought that maybe she was drowning her unrequited love in alcohol, trying to see whether Justin still cared about her. With that move, she had won. I had thought she was some tragic martyr for love, but I never expected. Justin, go see Sister Emma tomorrow. You left her behind and turned her into a laughingstock. How is she supposed to be your wife in the future? How is she supposed to be my sister-in-law? Selena was lying in the hospital bed, her face already pale and fair again. The red rash had disappeared, and she looked pitiful and delicate. Justin shook his head and said, Selena, don't worry about her. Once she calms down, she'll come back to me on her own. It's you I should be talking about. You're still being this generous. Selena smiled and said, Justin, I really don't blame Emma. She didn't know I can't drink alcohol. I also thought I was holding juice. The moment I heard that, I froze. I hadn't handed her that drink at all. What right did she have to frame me like that? Furious, I pushed the door open, strode forward, and demanded, You were the one who brought that drink over yourself. What does that have to do with me? Before I could finish, Justin flew into a rage. That's enough. Emma! Selena already said she doesn't blame you. This matter ends here. I looked at Justin in disbelief and said through a choked voice, So you're not even willing to hear me out? And you'd rather believe her? Justin looked at me, his face full of exhaustion. Emma, Selena has had alcohol allergies since she was a child. She had no reason to risk her own life just to frame you. I let out a bitter laugh. I had thought I'd found true love. What a fucking joke that was. Fine. Then I won't interrupt you too while he loves and she longs. Justin, let's break up. After saying that, I rushed out. My crying echoed through the entire hospital. When I reached the hospital lobby, I suddenly fainted for some reason. When I woke up again, I was already lying in a hospital bed. Justin was holding my hand with an affectionate look on his face as he said, "Emma, you're finally awake." I pulled my hand back and turned my face away. I didn't want to see him at all. Patricia looked at me and smiled gently. "Emma, congratulations. You're pregnant. I'll arrange your wedding with Justin right away. For now, just focus on taking care of yourself and the baby." I looked at the siblings in disbelief. I was actually pregnant with Justin's child. But we had already broken up. Before I could say anything, Justin took my hand again and comforted me. "Emma, I'm sorry. I was the one who misunderstood you. I spoke too harshly. You can hit me or curse at me if you want. But can you please keep our child?" I touched my stomach, feeling the little life that was about to arrive. I was going to have a baby. But was Justin really willing to let go of Selena and be with me? Chapter 6. The doctor said I had almost miscarried, so I was hospitalized to protect the pregnancy. During those days, Justin was the one bustling around, taking care of me. Selena had been discharged from the hospital. She came to see me with some things in hand, her face full of apology. She was met with a cold expression from Justin. "You should go back first. Emma needs to rest." Selena stood up and looked at Justin with reddened eyes, as if she had something she wanted to say. But Justin's gaze remained fixed on me the whole time, so she turned to look at me instead, her eyes full of unwillingness. "Then Emma, get some good rest. I'll be going now." Lily once said that I was a hopeless fool in love, but ever since Justin pushed me away in front of everyone and left carrying Selena in his arms, that foolishness had finally snapped awake. But I couldn't bear to lose this child. I myself was an orphan, raised in an orphanage since childhood. I also wanted to have a blood relative of my own. If I tried to raise the child alone, Justin definitely would not agree. Perhaps I could just turn a blind eye. "Justin, are you sure you love me?" "Justin, this was the last chance I was giving you." He hesitated for a second, then looked up at me. "Yes, I'll marry you. Focus on taking care of the baby, and don't overthink things." I smiled. So it turned out he never loved me that much after all. After I was discharged, Justin's family took me straight back to their house, under the pretense of helping me rest during the pregnancy. In reality, they were restricting my freedom and keeping me confined. Even when I talked to Lily on the phone, someone would be watching me. At the time, I thought they were afraid I might secretly abort the baby, but I had no idea things were far more complicated than I imagined. During the first 3 months of pregnancy, my morning sickness was especially severe. Every day I threw up so badly I could barely tell day from night, and I lost a lot of weight. They kept giving me nourishing foods and supplements, but I couldn't eat any of it. Patricia comforted me and said, "Emma, this is normal during pregnancy. Once the first 3 months are over, you'll be fine." I shook my head miserably and said, "Sis, you've never been pregnant. You don't understand how I feel right now. I really can't eat anything." Patricia smiled and blurted out, "When I was..." She suddenly stopped and gave an awkward smile. "When I saw my friend pregnant back then, she also vomited terribly at the beginning, but later she gained the weight back." After she said that, I threw up again. So at the time, I didn't pay any attention to the odd expression on her face. I hadn't seen Justin for a whole month. When he came back today, his face looked a little grim. He went straight to the study, and Patricia followed him in. At first, I didn't want to disturb them, afraid they were talking about business, but suddenly my stomach tightened a little. I clutched it and got up, walking toward the study. "Sis, the hospital just sent word Ethan's condition is very bad." Patricia panicked and asked anxiously, "Then what do we do?" "I don't want Ethan to die. He is my own flesh and blood." Hearing that, I was utterly shocked. Patricia actually had a son. "Justin, Ethan is your own nephew. You have to save him." Patricia grabbed Justin and begged bitterly. I didn't understand what she wanted Justin to do. Could it be that she wanted Justin to donate one of his organs or his bone marrow? Justin frowned and said nothing. A trace of conflict flashed through his eyes. All right, I'll take care of this. Take care of what? My stomach suddenly stopped hurting, and I hurried away, afraid they would discover I had been eavesdropping. Back in my room, I thought it over again and again, but still couldn't make sense of it. They say that after a woman gets pregnant, her mind becomes slow and muddled. Forget it. I won't think about it anymore. I took out my phone and called Lily. Ever since I got past the first 3 months, their family had stopped assigning people to watch me. Lily, what are you up to? What's wrong? Rich lady? Bored again? I lay sprawled on the bed in the shape of a starfish inside. Sigh. I really want to go out and have some fun, Lily said disdainfully. Don't even think about it. The last time I took you out, I got 3 warnings from young Master Justin. As for me, I'm on a business trip right now. I let out an embarrassed little laugh. Oh, come on. Sorry. So tell me, what did you call me for? Lily really did understand me. I told her what had happened today. On the other end, she shouted in shock. What? Patricia actually has a son? Holy crap. That's huge news. Patricia was the eldest daughter of the family, and she was already engaged to young Master Oliver of Nanching. If she had a son in secret, then if Oliver ever found out, the consequences would be unimaginable. So what you mean is, her son is seriously ill and needs an organ from your husband's body? I said, I don't know either. Other than a kidney, then it'd have to be a bone marrow transplant. That shouldn't affect Justin too much, right? Lily burst out laughing. I've heard that if a man loses one kidney, he's not that capable in bed anymore. Emma, would you be okay with that? My face turned red with embarrassment, and I cursed. You have no shame. Lily broke into loud laughter. All right. This working girl still has to keep working. You take care of yourself and the baby. Once I finish this project, I'll come see you. Chapter 7. Half a month passed. Although Patricia was still at home, there was no joy left on her face. A constant shadow of worry hung between her brows. That day, Selena came to visit me, carrying bird's nest soup and other nourishing supplements. She even called me sweetly sister-in-law. Justin said before that you were vomiting so badly you were a mess, so I didn't come to see you. Now your complexion looks much better. The baby should be stable by now. Maybe it was my pregnancy hormones acting up, but I didn't give Selena a pleasant face. You even know whether the baby is stable or not. Don't tell me you've given birth before. My words left Selena speechless. She looked at me with a lingering gaze, as if tears were about to fall again. I rolled my eyes. It was already hot enough in summer, and she still came here just to annoy me. You two chat. I'm going back to my room. I got up, one hand supporting my belly, and walked back inside. The bigger my stomach got, the harder it was to walk. Just as I had lain down, I suddenly heard Selena's voice. Justin, you're back. That made me so angry that I pushed myself up, opened the door, and walked toward the sound. Justin, you still haven't told Emma? I stopped in my tracks and froze. Told me what? Justin, Ethan can't keep waiting much longer at the hospital. He's Patricia's whole life. That made my blood boil. So Ethan's life was a life, but Justin's life wasn't? If something happened to him, what was I supposed to do? What about our child? Just as I was about to step forward and speak, Patricia opened her mouth. Justin, if you can't bring yourself to say it, I'll say it myself. We've been feeding her and taking care of her so well in this house for exactly this day. Haven't we? Besides, you're both still young. You can have more children later. After hearing that, I felt my heart pounding wildly. I stood frozen in place, trembling nonstop. What did she mean? We were still young and could have more children later? So this whole time, they had been after the child in my belly. I took a deep breath and tried to calm myself, supporting myself against the wall as I walked back into the room. Tears poured down uncontrollably, one after another. What do I do? What do I do? Who can save me and my child? I was so stupid. I had fallen for Justin's trap again. I took out my phone and called Lily, but no one answered, no matter how many times I called. Just as I was about to type a message, footsteps sounded outside the door. I hurriedly typed as fast as I could. Lily, save me. They want my baby dead. The door opened, and Justin walked in. His face was disturbingly calm. Emma, you heard everything just now, didn't you? How did he know? Then it hit me. Of course, I had been under surveillance all along. My eyes read. I looked at him and demanded, Justin, so you married me just so I could give birth to your child, and then use my baby's life to trade for your sister's child's life? He looked at me, a trace of conflict in his eyes. Emma, we'll have children again in the future, but Ethan doesn't have much time left to live. Hearing that, I laughed in fury. Ha ha ha. Justin, what gives you the right? I'm not that noble. I will not trade my child's life for another child's. Justin, do you know that? You're about to kill your own flesh and blood with your own hands. Even a vicious tiger doesn't eat its cubs. What you're doing is less than human. Absolutely monstrous. He let me curse him without arguing back. Emma, after this is over, you can take care of your health. Then we'll have the wedding and try for another baby. I stood up and slapped him across the face as hard as I could. Monster! Monster! My pregnancy had already been unstable, and after being pushed this far by them, my stomach suddenly tightened. I felt something flowing out from below me. Blood. Emma! He picked me up and hurried outside. Patricia and Selena crowded around. Take her to the hospital. Quick! Get the car ready. I could almost see Selena looking at me with a mocking expression. That's right. I was a joke. Chapter 8. At the hospital. I grabbed Justin's hand, my face full of hatred. Justin, I will never forgive you for this in my entire life. I will never forgive your family either. Justin silently watched as I was pushed into the operating room. There was not a trace of heartache in his eyes. He had probably already prepared himself for this. Lying on the operating table, I looked at the doctor and begged, Doctor, please, save my child. But the doctor said, Miss, this pregnancy was already unstable to begin with. The baby's chances are very slim. I can only guarantee your safety. The moment I heard the doctor's words, my heart turned to ashes, and I passed out on the operating table. When I woke up, there was no one around my hospital bed. The next day, Lily rushed over, looking at me. Her eyes were full of heartache. Emma, what exactly happened? What did the message you sent me mean? My face was expressionless. It meant exactly what it said. Lily, can you take me home? Lily looked at me with aching pity and nodded. Okay, I'll take you away from this hellhole. That very day, Lily handled my discharge papers and took me back to the rural hospital near her home, where I stayed and recovered. Up to this point, I had not received a single phone call from anyone in Justin's family, so it had all been an illusion. I was the only one who had been kept in the dark. Chapter 9. Inside the hospital, Justin spoke, pulling me back to reality. Selena, don't worry. She hid from me before, ran all the way to the countryside, and I still found her. I'll bring her back. I let out a cold laugh. Back then, I had stayed in the countryside for 3 months. When he found me, the first thing he said was, Emma, Ethan's treatment was successful, but he still needs blood transfusions at any time. I was so furious that I slapped him twice across the face. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Emma, are you really that heartless? It was an emergency. Don't blame me. He had his bodyguards tie me up and drag me straight back to Jiangqing, turning me into the private blood bank of Patricia's illegitimate son. Justin left the hospital, and I followed him, drifting at his side, all the way back to his company. He gave an order to his assistant. Go check on Emma. I don't believe she's dead. She gave that much blood and still didn't die. How could she possibly have died after I let her go? What kind of trick is she trying to pull this time? I laughed from sheer anger. Why was Justin so damn punchable? I swung my hand and slapped him across the face, but I only hit air. It infuriated this ghost to death. 3 years had passed since I died, and 3 years had passed since I followed Justin abroad. Over these 3 years, my hatred seemed to have faded. Now I only wanted to leave as soon as possible. After the assistant left, Justin sat on the sofa, muttering to himself nonstop. How could she be dead? No, she must just be angry with me. He picked up the photo frame on the table. I looked at it. It was actually a photo of me and him together. Was something wrong with his head? Why was he still keeping that picture? It was our anniversary photo, taken 1 year after we got together. I was smiling so brightly, and he too wore a rare smile. He hardly ever smiled when he was with me. You were always tough. How could you possibly die? I sneered. Who are you trying to fool with this fake devotion? You went abroad with Selena for treatment, and for a full 3 years. You never once thought of coming back to find me. Very soon, the assistant returned and handed a file folder to Justin. Boss, Miss Emma really did pass away 3 years ago. This is her cremation certificate. The moment he heard that, Justin's body visibly stiffened. That's impossible. Could it be someone else with the same name? He clearly refused to believe it. He grabbed the file and flipped through my death certificate and cremation certificate. Under his breath, he muttered, "Impossible, impossible. How could she be dead? Impossible." He suddenly roared and flung the documents away, his eyes wide open. I thought I saw his eyes turn red. Where is she buried? The assistant lowered his head and said, "At Lotus Cemetery." Chapter 10. I followed Justin to Lotus Cemetery. The scenery here was still as beautiful as ever. In that final month, I personally chose the place where I would rest. Justin was walking quickly, desperate to overturn the truth of my death. But when he saw my grave, the photo on the tombstone was, without question, me. He collapsed onto the ground as if his soul had been ripped out of him. I sat on top of my grave and watched him perform. What a waste that he never became an actor. She really died? The assistant standing nearby said. Boss, Miss Emma had acute leukemia. Justin got to his feet, grabbed the assistant by the collar, and demanded, "Didn't I tell you to keep me updated on her condition at all times? Why didn't you say anything?" The assistant looked at Justin, confusion in his eyes. Boss, didn't you send me a message saying there was no need to keep tabs on Miss Emma anymore, and that she should have her own life? Justin let go of the assistant, disbelief written all over his face. When did I ever say that? Then why was the information I got that she was doing perfectly fine? The assistant lowered his head and said, "Boss, I'll find out what happened. Get lost." After saying that, Justin crouched down and gently touched the photo on my tombstone. There was tenderness and reluctance in his eyes. I rolled my eyes. What is wrong with you? Dear God, when am I finally going to be able to leave Justin? I want to be reincarnated. Just as I was crying out, a familiar figure appeared in the distance. In a flash, I moved to her side, tears filling my eyes. Lily, I missed you so much. In her high heels, Lily strode over, grabbed Justin by the collar, and glared at him as she said, "So who do we have here?" "So it's the big boss, Mr. Justin. You're so busy with your company. So what are you doing here? You're not welcome here." Lily coldly ordered him to leave. During the time I was ill, the person Lily cursed the most was Justin. As if he had seen a savior, Justin grabbed Lily and demanded, "Tell me this isn't real. She only did this on purpose to leave me. Isn't that right?" Lily had the exact same expression I did when looking at a lunatic. "What the hell is wrong with you? Emma is already dead, and you're still making up crap about her. Are you sick in the head? If you're sick, go get treated." Justin broke down and shouted, "No, I don't believe it. Why didn't she tell me she was sick? I could have saved her." Lily let out a cold laugh, one hand on her hip. "Justin, you really make me laugh. Who are you trying to fool with this fake devotion?" In Emma's final month, the doctor said there was still hope if she went abroad. I called you before I could even say why. Your precious love of your life said that you had made it clear you would never concern yourself with Emma's matters again, and that we were not to bother you. Justin's eyes reddened as he shouted, "No, I never said that." Lily shrugged and sneered. "Believe whatever you want. It's too late. Get out. Today is Emma's death anniversary. I don't want her coming out and seeing some miserable piece of trash like you." As if possessed, Justin staggered down the mountain in a daze. I still wanted to speak to Lily a little longer, but I had no choice but to leave the cemetery with Justin's body. Goodbye, Lily. I'm really happy that I got to see you again. Chapter 11. In the hospital, Selena lay on the bed. The moment she saw Justin, she finally smiled. Justin, did you find Emma? Justin lifted his head and demanded. Selena, tell me the truth. For the past 3 years, were the reports that Emma was doing perfectly fine arranged by you? Did you bribe the staff to feed me those updates? Selena blinked, and her eyes quickly turned red. Justin, I just didn't want you to keep looking for Emma. She should have a life of her own by now. Besides, Justin suddenly roared. Selena, you crossed the line. He strode over and angrily grabbed Selena by the throat. Do you know that at the very end, she called me for help, and you answered on my behalf? Otherwise, I could have saved her. She wouldn't have died. Selena's face turned red, and she struggled to breathe. Justin, I didn't know. Let go of me. Justin released her, and she immediately broke down in tears. Justin, I really didn't mean to do it. Emma was always so healthy. How could she possibly get sick? Justin raised his eyes, his face darkening. I never said she died of illness. How did you know? Selena was speechless. Justin pressed closer, step by step. So you knew from the beginning that she was sick? No, Justin, listen to me. And you still wanted her kidney? Selena, how can you be this vicious? Selena kept shaking her head, trying to explain. No, Justin, I really didn't know I thought her illness wasn't serious. You saw how she was always fine after giving blood to Patricia. And after giving blood to Ethan? Justin let out another furious roar. That's enough. Selena, I'll find a kidney donor. And if I can't, then if saving me means repaying the debt I owe you, so be it. From this day on, we owe each other nothing. Selena completely broke down and cried bitterly. I followed Justin out. Looking at that woman, I suddenly didn't hate her anymore. They say if you go into your next life carrying hatred, you won't be reborn into a good family. And in my next life, I still want to be born into a happy, loving home. Chapter 12. After leaving the hospital, Justin drove all the way to Lotus Cemetery. When he reached my grave, he dropped to his knees and burst into loud sobs. Emma, I'm sorry. I'm a beast. I'm not even human. I sat on top of my tombstone and watched him put on a show. He had drunk a lot, and empty bottles were scattered all over the ground. Hey, don't throw trash all over my doorstep. You're seriously so annoying. And enough with the funeral wailing already. For 3 whole days, Justin did not leave. During that time, many people came, but none of them managed to persuade him to go back. I stood there with my hands on my hips, cursing him for 3 days straight, because he had turned the front of my home into a complete mess. I really wished Lily would come, drive him away, and help tidy things up for me. And just like that, what I wished for came true. Lily walked over in her high heels, and the moment she arrived, she gave Justin 2 hard slaps. Lily, you're amazing. Justin, are you sick in the head? She's already been dead for 3 whole years. So what exactly are you pretending to be here? Get lost. You are never allowed to come here again. Emma thinks you're filthy. Lily kept cursing Justin nonstop for a full half hour. In the end, she said one last thing. Then go die. Only then did Justin lift his head and look at my tombstone. Fine, once I've repaid my debt, I'll come keep you company. I hurriedly waved my hands. Pa, 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 don't come. I do not want to run into you again in my next life. Please, have mercy and let me go. Lily put her hands on her hips and let out a cold snort. I don't care where you die. Just don't die here. Emma thinks this place gets dirty enough with you around. My Emma doesn't need a piece of trash like you buried with her either. So hurry up and get out. Otherwise, I'm calling the police. The assistant beside him quickly arranged for the bodyguards to carry Justin down the mountain. Well, that meant I followed him all the way back home again. I saw Patricia's child, who looked to be about 7 years old. If my own child had still been alive, that child should have been only 3 by now. After Justin woke up from a sleep, he became terrifying. He glared at everyone he looked at. Patricia held her son in her arms, looking extremely frightened. because she too was one of the chief culprits who had harmed me. Justin, when a person dies, it's like a lamp going out. Don't grieve too much. Justin turned to look at her, a strange calmness in his eyes. Sis, if Ethan were the one who died, you wouldn't be saying that. After saying that, he turned and walked away. I looked at Patricia's face. She was in utter disbelief, trembling all over, because she too had known that I was dying, and still did nothing to save me. What a waste of my blood. Keeping that mother and son alive. Chapter 13. Following Justin once again to the hospital, I watched as he had blood drawn and underwent compatibility testing. Then he instructed the assistant beside him. Once the surgery is successful, send Selena abroad to recuperate. The next day, the kidney match was successful, he told Selena, the corner of his mouth carrying a cold smile. Once the transplant is done, I'll arrange a private jet to send you abroad to recover. Selena panicked. No, Justin, are you going to abandon me? Justin stopped walking and said, Selena, the only reason I treated you well was out of respect for your parents, and because when we were children, you saved me when I fell into the water. Otherwise, I would never have let you get away with deceiving me. After saying that, he quickly turned to leave. Selena, lying on the bed, suddenly burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Justin, you're so stupid. You were played by two women the whole time. You really think your sister didn't know about Emma's condition? In the end, the person who hurt Emma the most was you yourself. And the person who saved you from drowning when you were little was never me at all. I just happened to pass by at the time. Ah ha 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 ha. Justin turned around, his face filled with shock. He rushed out of the hospital, trying to run from all of it, but he didn't notice the speeding car coming toward him. All I heard was a loud bang. I saw with my own eyes as he fell to the ground, unable to rise, blood spilling out. At that instant, his eyes looked straight at me. It was as if he could actually see me. His lips moved. Emma, I'm coming to keep you company. I froze. Suddenly, a beam of light appeared in the sky and shone down on me. My body began to turn insubstantial. I really was hopeless. I was worried about Justin. I followed him into the hospital. The doctors tried to save him, and his family arrived. The patients signed an organ donation agreement. So if resuscitation fails, we will proceed with organ removal first. Selena came rushing over, leaning against the wall, crying and laughing at the same time. My soul gradually began to fade. Then I saw Justin pass through the doors of the emergency room. He saw me. He started chasing after me. I don't want that. I ran as fast as I could, my body growing fainter and fainter, while his voice still echoed behind me. Then suddenly, some force pulled me away. Right after that came a scream. And then, together with a baby's first cry, all that remained was the sound of an infant crying. Huh, looks like I really was reincarnated.